Hey guys, welcome back. Orbomb here. We are still in our jank little setup of me recording in my bed, but we're doing our next live deck profile. If you haven't seen the previous one over in Inteleon, not Inteleon, that's a future one hopefully. I really want to play Inteleon, it looks like a lot of fun. But if you haven't seen my last one over Dragapult VMAX, that was a nice 30-minute long video, but it was chock full of information. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. This one is probably not going to be quite as long because I don't have as much to say about it. And this is also not this is my buddy Steven's list that he built. We just kind of threw it together just for the video, and we had fun playing with it. So before we get into the video, we're going to be going over Toxtricity VMAX. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, all that good jazz. Answer the common question of the day, which is going to be, out of the two electric decks, what are you gonna, after you can let me know at the end of the video, of course. Out of the two electric decks, which one do you prefer, Toxtricity or Pikarom? Let me know in the comments down below, and give me your reasoning why as well. Remember, if you answer the common question today, as well as leave a like, you have a chance to win a couple of, not only just a couple of codes whenever this set drops, but a chance to win a booster box. Thanks to our lovely sponsors at Guardian Gaming as well. Use code ORABOMB for 10% off. You guys know the drill. I guess we're just going to go right into it. This is another deck that seems to be doing pretty well in Japan. This is definitely our first draft of the list. So if things seem a little bit weird in this list, we're just trying out a bunch of different numbers, seeing what sticks, seeing what doesn't stick. We are playing a 3-3 line of Toxtricity and Toxtricity VMAX. So what Toxtricity does is 210 HP, seems to be the baseline for a lot of these good cards. 20 damage, and it poisons your opponent, which is kind of relevant, and then 90 damage, and if your opponent's poisoned, it does 90 more damage, so you can hit 180, which with the poison damage becomes 190. It's definitely a really good number to hit, just in general. Right? Like, it may not be the strongest attack ever, but being able to hit that much damage for like 3 energies, and this is a lightning deck, right? So you have Cocoa Prism, you have Counter Gain, you have Thunder Mountain, you even have access to Bolton, which we'll go over in a second. Which I should probably pull up the exact thing. Like, getting the energies onto the Toxtricity is super duper easy. Where is the VMAX? Can I see Mr. V? Not VMAX, it's Mr. V. Let's see. Here we go. I just want to make sure I'm not getting any of the translations wrong. All right, cool. All right, perfect. All right, cool. So, and then it's good. It's just good. It's weak to fighting, but like, what fighting decks are relevant right now, right? Like, you know what I mean? So it's got a good weakness. It's got a pretty high damage output. We also have Electro Powers. This is a lightning deck. You got all the works. And also, pretty easy to achieve attack cost. It's got all the good stuff. And then you got the VMAX, which is 320 HP, just like Dragapult. 2 retreat costs, which is kind of... Retreat costs are now relevant because Milotic seems to be a powerful deck, and Milotic's attack is scaling based off your retreat cost. So that's just something to keep in mind. But for 3 energies is 160 and 80 more damage if your opponent is poisoned. So a lot of this combo is based off your opponent being poisoned. We have ways to poison our opponent, so it's not the end of the world. But you can hit 240 for 3 energies, 250 because of the poison, right? So you're essentially hitting 250 if they're poisoned, which is insane. You can combine that with anything, like any amount of Electro Powers. This is one of the few cards in the game that, with thanks to the like boost of Electro Powers, can actually OHKO other VMAX Pokemon. Not many decks, if any decks, can achieve that status of being able to OHKO VMAX Pokemon. So this is super good because if VMAX has become relevant, this is the only card that can boast being able to just blow out these cards out of nowhere. If you think about it, like the ones that are water decks, you can already OHKO because of weakness, right? Dragapult, I think you still need 3 Electro Powers because you're hitting 250 after the poison, right? So 60 more is only going to be 310. Now, something that me and Steven were talking about was maybe playing Vitality Band or our own Zigzagoon in this deck just to hit 320 with only 2 Electro Powers, because you play 4, right? So that means you can do that twice in a game, which is kind of relevant because that means you can essentially win the game. So having a Vitality Band, we're not currently playing Vitality Band or any other way to increase the damage output by 10, but having that 10 plus damage output is really important because 320 is a number, like in the mirror match as well as the Dragapult matchup. So could be something worth thinking about if you guys want to play this deck in the future, is maybe adding something along the lines that can increase your damage output by 10 in any way. But you can boast that, of course, you pretty much with one electric power OHKO every tag team, which is insane, just absolutely insane. So this card is good. It hits the numbers. To pull that off, though, we have a 2/2 line of Garbodor. Ignore the terrible cutting. My machine actually did not print this half of the card, so a little bit awkward, but it's fine. Garbodor, if there's a stadium in play, you poison your opponent's active Pokemon. So of course, that's why I was talking about in the previous video, you could play Marshadows to bump stadiums, but even if your opponent plays something like Chaotic Swell, like it's a stadium, right? It doesn't have to be your stadium. So most of the game, there will be a stadium in play as long as you play a stadium, right? Because the only way for them to get rid of the stadium without playing their own is through Marshadow, which not every deck is going to play. So this is just a consistent way to get poison off on your opponent. Another option that we didn't talk about, but we can talk about is, I think, Seviper. I'm not too sure if Seviper is still in format. I haven't actually double checked it. Let me see. Seviper, Poison, TCG. I should really know this. I think this is Burning Shadows. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Burning Shadows is still legal, right? I actually don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna continue talking, and I'm gonna pull it up on TCG, PCGO and see if it is. I don't remember anything. I'm like super tired. The only time I can record is when it's this late, because it's the only time that my family's like sleeping. But anyways, that aside, if you can find a way to increase the damage output by 1, you can knock out things a lot easier, is what I'm trying to get to. So the combo is really strong, and it's really easy to pull off thanks to things like Pokecom, Evo Incense, Quick Balls. You know, we have the consistency in the format, and we actually have a new energy that lets you draw cards as well in this deck. So there's a lot of good in this format right now. So getting this combo off is super easy and super duper strong. So that's not all for the Pokemon. There's still more Pokemon. Don't think I'm done. We're going to talk about the new card, Bolton. Bolton is a 200 HP, 2 retreat cost lightning Pokemon, but has really good attacks. 1 attack for single lightning energy lets you attach 2 lightning energy from your deck to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. So it's really easy to accelerate. Now we have a way to accelerate energies from the deck. That was like the last form of acceleration we really needed, right? in lightning decks. That's kind of crazy. I'm taking a look here. I pulled up Seviper. No, it's not legal anymore. I was wrong. Okay, Seviper is not legal anymore. That's a shame. That would have been really good. But anyways, and its second attack does 10 damage plus 30 more damage for each lightning energy on your board. So that can actually ramp up really quickly because you play so many energies. Like, this is super strong in Pikarom, but it's also strong in this deck. We do see how lightning energies do get ramped up in this deck, thanks to things like Cocoa Prism, your manual attachments, its own attacks. So it's pretty strong, pretty good non-VMAX Pokemon that you can switch to in case you don't want to give up too many prizes. Other Pokemon we play, 1 Eldegoss. We talked about this already, but in the previous video. But Eldegoss is a brand new Pokemon that lets you, whenever you play it from your hand to your bench, get a supporter card from your discard pile and put it into your hand. It is a Pokemon-based Versus Seeker. It is incredibly powerful and really needed in the format, in my opinion. I think it's a super strong, super good card. We have a lot of cool supporters in this format, but we don't want to play a lot of them because we're focused on playing heavier counts of draw supporters, right? Wait, there we go. So having the ability to throw like these random one-of supporters in the discard pile just so you can get them back with a Eldegoss is pretty good. Its attack does 50 and then shuffles itself back into the deck, which is good because now you can reuse the attack, and also gives you a random grass type attacker if you're looking to hit for grass type weakness, I suppose. But yeah, lets you reuse it. It doesn't go back to your hand. It's not like Shaman, but it does go back into your deck, so it is researchable. We are playing, of course, our 1 Cocoa Prism and 2 Dedenes. Probably your GX attack you're going to be using, right? There's no other GX attack in this deck, but being able to paralyze and put it back into your hand is good in just a lot of ways, and also puts a little bit of damage on the board. So that's going to be the Pokemon item now. Now, I just think this deck is cool because you have access, like, you're not pressured to use a GX attack. You can easily use this for 1 Lightning Energy and Thunder Mountain on the board, or Cocoburst and manual attachment. Paralyze your opponent. Usually they can't do anything if they're paralyzed. There's a lot of switching options in format, don't get me wrong. But it does force them to find them, which is kind of relevant because that is usually at least a switch or two, just to get this thing out of paralysis. And most importantly is that it puts your low HP liable Pokemon back into your hands so they can't like bosses order it later, which is the main reason why I like being able to use this GX attack. Everything else is just kind of a bonus, right? So that's it for Pokemon. Let's go ahead and jump into supporters real quick. For research, the supporter line is very, very strange. We're going to be testing out more. Now, there's a lot of cool supporters you can play in this deck. We're going for Volkner just because it lets us get manual attachments more often. You can search any of your trainer cards. Helps with the consistency of the deck. 2 Boss's Orders. They're Giovanni's Exiles. I'm sure you guys can... I'm sure you guys understand. Ooh, I have a thing I gotta deal with later. All right, cool. And 1 Marnie and 1 Koga's Trap. We're playing the Koga's Trap just in case we can't get off the Garbodor as consistently. This lets you poison your opponent and paralyze them. This is a card I can see you playing 2 or 3 of just to get that poison and not paralyze them, confuse them, by the way. Just to get off that poison consistently throughout the game. I could see you playing more Marnies. These are the 2 cards I want to play more of. Another card that we're not playing in this set that we can easily play is Guzman Hala. We opted not to play Guzman Hala because we don't play Tackles. I think we should be playing Guzman Hala because it lets you search for a special energy, which we have a brand new lightning special energy that lets you draw cards, which is great. A tool, which we have our tools, and a stadium, which we have our stadiums. And stadiums are kind of relevant because of the Garbodor. So I think it's pretty good. Probably better than Volkner in a lot of cases, but you do have to discard to get all that bonus stuff. And Volkner lets you search for an item, and you know, we have Reset Stamp, we have of course all of our ball search cards. We'll go over them right now actually. 4 lovely, beautiful promo quick balls, which I didn't know he had these, and I'm thinking about stealing them, but I'm a good friend and I won't steal them, even though I really want to, Steven. 2 Pokecoms and 2 Evo Incense. It is important that we get our Garbodor, and it is important that we get our Toxtricity VMAX, so the Evo Incenses are good for that. I could see the argument for maybe playing just 4 straight up Pokecom, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 basic Pokemon, 16 Pokemon in the deck. So maybe if you were to increase the Toxtricity count to probably a 4-4 line, or maybe even played like more Trubbish, maybe like a 3-3 line of Trubbish Garbodor, maybe playing the Pokecoms would be even better because then you have so many Pokemon in your deck. For the time being, we're trying out the 2-2 line just to see what sticks, right? We're probably going to be playing this deck again in the future, so we're just trying out numbers for now. That can easily be moldable. Of course, we have our 4 Electro Powers. Once again, beautiful League promos. 2 switches. Once again, beautiful, beautiful switches. Look at these things. Look at these things. Delta species, bro. We have 2 Air Balloon. Lots of things in this deck have a 2 retreat cost. A card that you can play in this deck that we're not playing right now, but you could, is Zeraora. That gives you another GX attack that lets you accelerate energies from your discard pile, which could be pretty good combined with Bolton, and also gives you that free retreat, which is super good if Milotic becomes really popular, right? Because you have a 0 retreat count, so Milotic can't do anything about that. But for the time being, we're going with Air Balloons. It's also searchable for Guzman Hala if you do choose to play the Guzman Hala, which we're not playing. I honestly think Zeraora is better, but Zeraora is also a target still. Like, it can easily be knocked out. 190 HP is not as good as it used to be, but Zeraora is also a really strong option. We're playing 1 Great Catcher, because Denny is a card. 1 Reset Stamp, because we're playing Volkner. 1 Counter Gain, also because we're playing Volkner, and also allows you to attack even easier. And for our stadiums, we are playing 2 Power Plants and 1 Thunder Mountain. Like I said, if you want to play the Zeraora, you could easily cut the Power Plant, play something like, I don't know, like play a Swell, I guess. Maybe play the other Galar Mines as a disruption to your opponent's Pokemon, and also gives you still have 0 retreat cost on all your Pokemon if they have a lightning energy attached to them. So more options, and of course Thunder Mountain is Thunder Mountain. So that's going to be the trainers and stadiums and tools. I guess I should say items, stadiums, and tools. That's all the trainer cards. Let's go ahead and move on to the Pokemon. We do have 4, I don't remember what this card is called. It's a lightning special energy, but it's essentially whenever you attach it to a lightning Pokemon, draw 2 cards. What? It's a free lightning manual attachment that lets you draw 2 cards. Also searchable with Guzmahala, just like, it's a pretty strong card. It's a really good card. And it's really interesting with Guzmahala because you discard 2 cards and then you get 2 cards back. It's essentially like you don't lose any card economy, which is great. And of course we are playing 3, 6, 7 basic lightning energies. This energy count, I do like the 11 of energies. I think it's fine. I don't think you need more than this. We haven't had any issues as far as accelerating energy for the most part throughout the game. My main thing is that I want to try out different builds. I want to try Zeraora. I want to try Guzmahalas. I want to try Galar Mine. There's a lot of different things I want to try in this deck. Let me know in the comments down below what you want to see in this deck. What's going to be the build you want to try next? Now, this deck has been very consistent for sure, but we're going to try out a bunch of different ideas for sure. This is not the final list by any means, just the initial list. But thank you guys all for watching. As far as the matchups go, let's pull up that page again. The mirror match, I mean, not the mirror match, the Pikachu and Zekrom match. If you can set up your board, like get the Garbodor down, you just kind of win that, right? Like you hit them for knockout if they're poisoned, and you can Boss's Order them and Great Catcher them. So that feels really easy. Same with any tag team deck for the most part. Well, that's not true because you only hit 250, but with an Electro Power, you need a little bit more in your hand, so you kind of have to high roll a lot. But against most tag team decks, you can just easily, get the combo off, blow them away, as long as you have like a 1 or 2 Electro Powers in your hand. Dragapult, the Dragapult matchup is probably your favorite thing, but you have to run hot, right? Because if you get a perfect board, you just win the game. And getting a perfect board is not too bad, but you have to keep in mind you're probably going to need to get down multiple Garbodors because they are going to be sniping your Garbodors with their attacks. But if you can get down multiple Garbodors, maybe play a few Koga's Traps just to poison them as often as you can, you get to boast the fact that you're going to be OHKOing them most of the game. Paralyzing them is good with the Dene, mainly because they're probably going to put damage counters on the Dene. So coming up, paralyzing them with the GX attack, putting it back into your hand means that they're going to have enough damage on them to where you can just straight up OHKO them with like 1 Electro Power. Maybe no Electro Powers if you have some more poison damage on them as well. So that's the cool thing about this deck, is that if Dragapult ends up becoming one of the best decks, then this card can stand up to Dragapult, and as well as pretty much every deck in the meta, but it is still like a combo deck. So that's the downside about this deck, is that it's great, it can blow up anything, but you still need to get the combos. But we have so much support that it almost feels like it doesn't matter, right? Because getting it should be so easy. Let's see. Zacian. I don't know if do you resist metal? You don't have a resistance actually. So just something I was thinking about earlier. But Zacian, they don't ever OHKO you. They can OHKO your other dudes, but they don't OHKO you and you OHKO them. Even if they have like a Lucario Memetal, right? You OHKO the Zacians as long as you get off like 1 extra damage, because you have to hit them for 260, right? And you hit them for 250. So if you get any sliver of damage on them prior, you OHKO them. But most of the time they're playing ADP, so you're gonna OHKO them still. Because they're, well, that's not true, because they might have the Frying Pan. You can easily play Tool Scrapper in this deck. It is an item card, searchable off Volkner, all that good jazz. So if you're really worried about that, squeeze in a Tool Scrapper. There's just that deck. I need to really make a list of all the good decks in format just to like kind of talk more about like how I feel like the matchups are going to be. Anyways, this video should not be 20 minutes long. I need to rest my throat because it's exhausted. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like if you haven't already. Answer the comment question that we mentioned earlier, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Oh, hold on. Peace. There we go.